everyone. Welcome to the TheRavensBrew. I'm Summer and I have Molly here with me today. Imagine an invitation to an exclusive club that promises freedom and indulgence beyond anything you've ever known. But as you descend into darkened caves, you realize you're stepping into something far more sinister. A world where pleasure meets darkness and the elite gather not to just escape, but to transcend reality.
The Hellfire Club began like any other gentleman's club of the era, a place for wealthy men to escape the restrictions of polite society, indulging in drink, gambling, and casual affairs. But even from its inception, there was an underlying darkness. Its founder, Sir Francis Dashwood, was not content with mere revelry. His taste leaned more toward the profane, the forbidden, the unholy. Dashwood wasn't just assembling a club, he was curating a brotherhood of men who felt untouchable, who believed they were above any earthly consequences. Their gatherings took place in lavish estates and darkened chambers, but what started as simple gatherings soon morphed into something much darker. As whispers spread, people began calling it the Hellfire Club. An institution named not for its mischief, but for the infernal pursuits it hid beneath the surface. Membership to the Hellfire Club was by invitation only, extended to those powerful enough to ensure secrecy and daring enough to participate in acts of absolute depravity. The club's motto, "Do what thou wilt," was more than just a creed. It was a license to explore the boundaries of mortality and consciousness, creating a realm where no act was too vile, no desire too forbidden. The members would convene at night, cloaked and masked to ensure they remained anonymous. These masks weren't only for privacy, they were symbolic, transforming each member from his public identity free to embrace his most hidden desires. But even behind the masks, the energy was palpable, a shared knowledge that they were dabbling in something truly sinister. Rumor has it some members brought personal relics of deceased ancestors or past lovers, believing they could use their spirits to gain forbidden knowledge of power. These relics were placed in a circle, and as the wine flowed and inhibitions faded, these private items became ritualistic offerings in the club's twisted ceremonies. Dashwood was said to lead many of these rituals himself, transforming from a statesman into something more a dark priest presiding over his congregation like. Some accounts even described him reciting ancient chants in dead languages, invoking spirits, or perhaps calling upon darker forces from realms unknown. He believed these acts could grant the club otherworldly powers, binding them in a pact of loyalty and sin.
Wow.
So, the motto of the Hellfire Club was "Do what thou wilt, Summer." It wasn't just a call to indulgence, right? But like to get rid of any mortal boundaries or moral boundaries that they had. If you had that kind of mindset, what would you do?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I am a homebody who likes to be at home with my cats, so I'm not sure I would do anything.
Well, that was anticlimactic. Anything you could wish. You wouldn't travel. You wouldn't ask for hidden secrets, how to make money.
Well, I mean,
nothing.
Well, it's not a genie. He's not granting me 3 wishes.
Oh, that's not what that means?
No, it's like if you could get away with anything, like murder or depraved things. I don't have anything on my list that I'd want to do that's depraved.
You don't have anyone you want to murder? I mean, like, not realistically, obviously, but like...
No, my purge list is pretty short.
Oh.
You have a long purge list?
Me? No. My mom watches this podcast. You think I'm going to say something like that?
Yeah, so what are you trying to get me to say?
I don't know.
Exactly.
That you'd skin a turkey and eat it or something.
Well, I finna gonna in like a month.
Less than a month.
Unlike most gentlemen's clubs of the time, the Hellfire Club didn't merely allow women, it required them. But these women weren't treated as equals. They were brought in as living symbols, instruments in dark ceremonies, even sacrifices for rituals only whispered about in the darkest corners of society. The club referred to these women as nuns, but it was a mockery of their titles, twisting symbols of purity into objects of sin. Each woman was draped in dark robes and veils, their identities hidden, transformed into shadows among the elite. Many were rumored to be courtesans or women from mysterious backgrounds, chosen for their willingness to serve as vessels for the club's indulgences. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh wait. Courtesans were probably night workers.
So what this kind of gave me a vibe of was like, what's that one TV show with Elizabeth Moss that was like really graphic and like disturbing?
The
Handmaid's Tale.
Thank you. You got my...
The wording of this, chosen for their willingness to serve as vessels for the club's indulgences, that's just kind of what brought to mind. Even though in Handmaid's Tale they weren't willing, I'm just saying, like, that's what came to mind.
I don't know if these women were so much as willing either, but you know.
Right. Okay. In some ceremonies, women were reportedly placed in the center of pentagrams or circles, their bodies symbolizing a conduit to the supernatural. They weren't just there for the men's desires, they were integral to rituals that intended to call upon darker forces, to bind energies or harness them. Some tales claim they were even made to recite chants or prayers twisted into blasphemous mockeries of religious rites. And for the truly unlucky, there were rumors of sacrifices, ceremonies so secretive that few dared to speak of them, even after the club's disbandment. While it's unclear if physical harm was involved, many whispered that women were used to offer life force or energy in rituals meant to summon spirits or gain power. These sacrifices were symbolic yet ominous, imbuing the cave walls with a heavy presence that seemed to linger to this day. It's also said that some women who entered the caves left changed, haunted by what they'd witnessed or participated in. While some could speak of it only in veiled hints, others, perhaps bound by fear, were silent forever. In the club's shadowy records, there are whispers of women who vanished entirely, leaving only rumors of the price paid for their presence. 1700s Jeffrey Epstein, 1700s P. Diddy White Party.
I mean, sick. The Hellfire Club didn't just gather for merriment. They believed they were engaging with forces beyond the natural world. Members delved into the occult, exploring dark rituals that bordered on summoning and alchemy. This wasn't play acting. It was deliberate pursuit of the forbidden, a dance on the edge of supernatural forces. Club's most devoted members conducted summoning rituals, attempting to call forth the spirits of darker entities in the hopes of gaining insight or power. These were no ordinary seances. They used ancient, nearly forgotten rituals, chanting in dead languages, drawing sigils on the cave floor, each symbol a key to unlocking what lay beyond the veil. According to some rumors, high-ranking members participated in a ritual known as the Infernal Pact. This ceremony was whispered to be a contract with otherworldly beings, exchanging a part of their soul or energy for influence, wealth, or knowledge beyond mortal understanding. Those who engaged in this ritual were often said to leave the inner temple forever changed. Another rumored ritual was the invocation of the Shadow Guide, a spiritual entity believed to dwell in darkness. Members performed this ritual in total silence, cloaked in black, each holding a single candle. As the ceremony proceeded, they extinguished their candles one by one, plunging the room into pitch darkness. They would wait in complete stillness, hoping the shadow guide would manifest to reveal secrets or grant hidden knowledge. Some Hellfire members were obsessed with life after death, conducting experiments that broadened on necromancy. There are stories of certain members using personal relics, bones, or hair from the deceased to attempt communication with spirits. These artifacts were believed to act as conduits, connecting the living with the dead, and in some cases, they claimed to bring spirits back to answer questions. The obsession with necromancy was not just a fascination. It was a quest to understand life, death, and everything in between. To mock or challenge the divine, Hellfire members would invert religious symbols, taking holy rites and twisting them. Crosses were often placed upside down, prayers rewritten into chants meant to repel rather than invite. For them, it wasn't enough to ignore religion. They had to defy it, pushing back on the boundaries of faith and morality. So, Summer.
Yes.
Would you do the shadow guide ritual?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I think this stuff is creepy.
I think it's really scary. I wouldn't want to stand in the dark and just hear things because your mind plays tricks on you.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in an underground cave doing any of this stuff. I'd be afraid.
Deathly.
Yeah, I would. I'd be really afraid. But you know what I find interesting is, like, as we're reading through this and like the 1700s and the time period, like, I find it interesting that they're not scared, not just of what they're messing with, but of like religious authority and, you know, what was going on at that time. Like, you know, religion was pretty serious back then. If you were not in line, you were whacked.
Well, from what we've learned about, that this was the time of enlightenment, so this was the time where everybody was questioning the church's power and what they really believed in. And so it makes sense for something like this to come out during the time of enlightenment, wouldn't you think?
So I just think this is a little extreme for the people of the time. That's all. Like, I feel like these people were just raised different, lived in a different time, and to be doing all this stuff is a little freaky.
So when do you think it would be an acceptable time to do any of this?
Well, I don't mean like that, but I just mean, like, to me, like, this would be more like a modern day type rebellion than a rebellion for the 1700s. In modern day times, rebelling against the church isn't really a bad thing. Like, you don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to go to church. Back in the 1700s, though, not going to church, working on Sunday, all that stuff was bad. Like, you could get in a lot of trouble for working on Sunday. So just when you think the secrets of Hellfire Club can't get any darker, remember, this is only the beginning. What else did they uncover in those shadowed caves? What other dark pacts and forbidden knowledge have been lost to time? Still whispering from the walls, it's clear the mystery of the Hellfire Club only grew more twisted and more dangerous with every step. If you think this is intense, there's plenty more ahead that you won't want to miss. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay with us as we journey further into the secrets of the elite, into realms where power, darkness, and mystery collide. The Hellfire Club story isn't over yet, and trust me, it's only going to get darker.
The Hellfire Caves weren't just a hidden location. They were a world unto themselves, a dark labyrinth descending into shadows, far removed from the eyes and judgment of society. These winding passages and hidden chambers served as a perfect sanctuary for those who sought freedom from moral boundaries. These caves held something far more unsettling than freedom. They became a place where power, secrecy, and darkness merged. At the heart of the Hellfire Caves lies the infamous Inner Temple, an ancient cavern where rituals reached their darkest peak. This chamber was sealed from the outside world by an underground river, the River Styx, named after the mythological boundary between life and death. Members would this river, leaving behind any ties to the worlds above. Once inside, they would partake in their most secretive and forbidden rites. In a twisted act of loyalty, the heart of one of the club's founders, John Wilkes, was preserved and kept in an urn within the caves. This wasn't just a tribute, it was a symbol of the Hellfire Club's lasting grip on those who entered. Visitors drawn by dark curiosity would pay to hold his heart, seeking to fill some trace of the Hellfire Club's legacy. To this day, that urn remains, casting a long, eerie shadow over all who dare to enter. But let me tell you guys, his actual heart was stolen, and the urn now just holds the ashes of him. And you can see it, but they don't let you hold him anymore. Now, the tunnels themselves were designed to inspire fear and awe. Narrow passages give way to cavernous rooms, and every turn feels as though it leads you further from the safety of the worlds above. Some say that those who venture too far hear whispers echoing off the stone walls, voices of those who took their secrets with them, trapped forever within the cave's dark depths. Many who entered the caves reported strange experiences. A sudden chill, glimpses of figures in the dark, or whispers too soft to fully hear. Local legend claims that these apparitions are the tortured souls of those who delved too deeply into the Hellfire Club's rituals. One spirit, known as the Lady in White, is rumored to appear near the entrance, warning visitors not to go too deep, as if still protecting the cave's secrets from beyond the grave. The layout of the caves creates a natural echo, amplifying footsteps, whispers, and even breathing. Members reported feeling as though the caves were alive, with the walls pulsing and breathing around them, as if the cave itself were a part of their rituals, consuming their secrets and feeding off their darkest desires. Visitors today still feel that unnerving energy, the walls heavy with the weight of unspeakable deeds, the air thick with lingering tension. Every inch of the Hellfire Caves feels soaked in darkness, as though the stones themselves are saturated with the sins and ambitions of those who gathered within. So, Summer, would you go into the caves at night?
No.
Not even on a dare?
No, I'm not. I'm a wuss puss.
Would you go in with just one light, like a candle, like one candlestick?
I would probably go in with like you and like maybe a group of people, but I would not stay long. I would be like, did you hear that? And then I would bolt.
So you wouldn't go all the way in. You wouldn't go past the river and through the halls down to grandmother's house we go.
I don't think so, because I'm scared.
Now that you know all this, like if you didn't know this, you might have gone in before.
No, I don't think so, because I'm really not much of a spelunker. Like, I'm scared. Like,
it doesn't, like, it's not like you spelunk into the cave. You like just walk into the cave.
So it's just like a big giant walking cave, and I'm just walking. I don't gotta crawl around on my belly.
No.
Oh. Well, okay.
It's like you could stand upright, like it's big enough.
So if I'm walking around and it has nice ceilings and stuff, maybe.
I mean, they're like curved and they have like stones all around it, like because it's man-made, you know. So it's still got like a really old feel, like that old feel, but it's not like army crawling. Like no.
So okay, I might go in there. I guess it just depends on the vibe I get when I get there. If it's too scary, I'm not going in.
Okay, now that you've read this, you definitely wouldn't go in because you'd be too scared.
Well, maybe not if the vibe isn't. Like, maybe it's like a cool cave and like.
I mean, I would love to go.
You would go in there?
Not by myself.
I wouldn't go by myself either, but
I'd go with you.
I'd go, but I don't know how long I'd stay. Final answer.
I'd force you. I'd like push you and run.
No, I'll go, but I don't know how
Okay.
long I'll stay.
You have to walk to the end and back.
Well, I might be running back. Benjamin Franklin is celebrated as a founding father, a brilliant inventor, a man of reason. But Franklin's associations with the Hellfire Club reveal a side of him few ever discuss. A man fascinated by mysteries beyond science, willing to step into the dark to satisfy his curiosity. While he visited England, Franklin didn't merely socialize with the club, he joined their rituals, conducted experiments, and possibly pushed boundaries in ways that would haunt him. According to some accounts, Franklin attempted to merge his scientific knowledge with the Hellfire Club's occult practices. He wasn't satisfied with observing. He wanted to understand, even manipulate, the forces that the club sought to summon. He allegedly conducted experiments with electrical currents, hoping to bring forth spirits, or at least some evidence of the supernatural by channeling energy directly into the ritual spaces. One of Franklin's rumored goals was to uncover proof of life beyond death. Members would gather in the caves while Franklin conducted these experiments, rituals designed to connect with those who had passed beyond. He would use relics, personal effects of the deceased, charging them with electrical pulses as if they were receivers for the other side. Whether these rituals worked is lost to time, but it's said that those who participated were left shaken, speaking of visions or shadows that lingered long after the ritual ended.
You know why they were shaken? Because
Why?
all those electrical currents. Sorry, bad joke.
They probably were, like, they were probably really scared to see electricity, and they were like, like in Hocus Pocus, when they come out of their house and they see that black river, and they're like, it's a road, like,
and they're like jumping on it.
Those witches were from the 1700s, so
it would be the same. Like, yeah, and like they're like,
yeah, all the layman folk in this story who are not the ritual people that were conducting these, all the people like you and me that are there for the sacrifices were probably terrified because they had never seen electricity before. They were like, what is this? It's a road. A strange story among the club's myths tell of Franklin's spectral lanterns charged with electrical energy were said to emit an eerie blue light that could reveal spirits, or so Franklin believed. It's rumored that during certain rituals, the members would gather, each holding one of these lanterns, and watch as ghostly shapes danced within the light. A spectacle both terrifying and mesmerizing.
They do know this was just their shadows, right? They're probably getting electrocuted by the spirit box or the spirit things, and then seeing their own shadows dance on the walls. Like,
and they were like, oh, it's haunted. Okay, yeah, probably. One of Franklin's most disturbing experiments was what he called the spirit cage. Crafted from a metal frame and wired with currents, it was meant to trap spiritual energy. The members would summon entities, believing this cage could contain their essence. Those who witnessed these rituals claimed they saw shapes and shadows writhing within the cage, as if something had indeed been captured, a fragment of the unknown struggling against its prison of steel and energy. After these experiments, Franklin was said to change, withdrawing into bouts of silence and reflection. Some claimed he had come too close to something dangerous, something beyond human comprehension. There are accounts of Franklin spending hours alone in the darkened caves, murmuring to unseen figures, his mind forever haunted by what he had encountered. Some say he carried a piece of the Hellfire Club's darkness back to America, a shadow that followed him for the rest of his life.
Yeah, because he, like, electroshocked himself. Like, dude, that much energy is not good for anyone messing with your brain.
Well, probably not back then, but in today's world, we have so much electricity around us all the time and radio waves that it wouldn't bother us. It's like the first time they aired, what's that movie?
Dorothy.
No.
Oh
my gosh. What is
The Wizard of Oz.
No.
I'm thinking of where it goes
The
from
Exorcist.
dark.
The very first time they showed The Exorcist in the movies in the 1970s, people were fainting and vomiting and had to leave the theater. Now you watch...
Because it's real.
No, because nobody had seen that kind of stuff on a screen before, and they were terrified. So they, like, if we go back and we watch The Exorcist, the original Exorcist, we're like... the graphics are
so lame.
Yeah, the graphics are really bad. It'd be the same thing if we went back to the 1700s to this cave and we saw all their spectral lanterns. We'd be like,
You know, this is just shadow, like on a wall.
Benny back there is like,
The alligator.
something, I don't know.
For some reason, 1700 does feel really far back for me, but at the same time, it doesn't. The worshiping that they're doing now, people are still doing to this day. Like, they say that Freemasons is what Benjamin Franklin was a part of, and so he probably brought this stuff back home and electrocuted all these men in America, and that's how it all came to be. Even centuries after the Hellfire Club's disbandment, its influence has left an incredible mark on West Wycombe and the Hellfire Caves. Locals still whisper about the eerie energies that permeate the area, claiming that the spirits of the Hellfire Club and its many secrets never truly left. It's as if the shadows of the past are woven into the stones, waiting for anyone brave to venture close. Many of the artifacts used in the Hellfire's rituals have gained reputations of their own, believed to be cursed or imbued with dark energy. Among the most infamous is the Whistling Skull, said to release an eerie, faint whistle sound at night. Visitors who've come too close report sudden chills, strange dreams, and an overwhelming feeling of dread, as if they've brought something unsettling home with them. Even those who are skeptical of ghosts have reported hearing footsteps echoing in the empty tunnels, even though no one else is there. These footsteps are slow, deliberate, and as if someone or something is still wandering, trapped in an endless circuit through the dark corridors. Some say these are the souls of former members cursed to roam the caves forever, bound to the place by the rituals they performed. Now, in recent years, there have been whispered stories of visitors who enter the Hellfire Caves only to vanish for hours. When they're finally found, they emerge disoriented, speaking of hearing voices, seeing faces on the walls, and even glimpsing figures cloaked in black. Some return with a vacant look in their eyes, unable or maybe unwilling to share what happened during their lost hours. Locals believe that the caves have a way of claiming people, pulling them into a world of shadows if they dare to go too deep. Visitors to the Hellfire Caves often report feeling an oppressive energy that grows stronger the deeper they venture. The air becomes heavier, almost suffocating, and the silence is so thick that it seems to press down on anyone inside. Paranormal investigators who've studied the caves say the energy there is unique, as though it remembers the rituals conducted centuries ago. The Hellfire Club's legacy isn't confined to history. It's etched into the very stones, creating a haunting reminder of the club's descent into darkness, and for those brave enough to confront it, there's always a chance that something might confront them back. I find it very wild that people just go missing and they have no recollection. They don't know where they went. Nobody can find them. Like,
well, I've heard stories where, like, when you go in caves and stuff, that it's pretty normal to be disoriented. Like, I don't think that's too wacky.
But not to be found? Like, no one can find you?
Yeah, people disappear all the time, dude. The Hellfire Club may have faded from history, but its spirit, its allure, and its mysteries haven't entirely disappeared. Some believe that the rituals and philosophies practiced by the club left a legacy that evolved, stretching across generations, with echoes that can still be felt among modern-day elite gatherings. The whispers say that Hellfire's influence never really died. It simply went underground, transforming to fit the times.
Wasn't it already underground?
I was literally thinking that too.
Just saying.
Certain historians and conspiracy theorists believe that secret societies today carry on the Hellfire Club's traditions in new forms. High-ranking members of society are said to convene in hidden locations, performing modern versions of Hellfire's rituals. These rituals, cloaked in secrecy, may still include symbolic sacrifices, invocations, and occult practices, reframed to suit the influential mind of today. They say that some of the symbols associated with the Hellfire Club, its sigils, its hidden messages, appear quietly in unexpected places, embedded in architecture, artwork, and even on currency, as if to mark its presence of Hellfire's descendants. These symbols serve as a reminder to those who recognize them, a secret code that the old ways are alive and well, if only for those in the know. The motto of the Hellfire Club, "Do what thou wilt," has reemerged, inspiring certain underground circles who promote personal freedom above all. This philosophy isn't about freedom in the traditional sense, it's about the removal of moral restraint, a return to the pursuit of hidden knowledge and power. For these groups, the phrase represents an invitation to transcend societal norms, viewing the world as a canvas upon which they can act without consequence. Certain conspiracy theorists argue that some of today's wealthiest and most powerful figures continue to engage in occult practices, whether for personal empowerment, control over others, or access to knowledge beyond the ordinary. They claim that some of these elites are drawn to Hellfire principles, gathering in remote locations, surrounded by security, engaging in rituals said to unlock potential or reveal hidden truth. In whispers passed around online forums and hidden corners of the internet, there are rumors of a modern Hellfire Club, an elite gathering of the rich, the powerful, and the influential, meeting under the guise of social gatherings or exclusive events. But beneath the polished exterior, it's said that these gatherings echo the forbidden rituals of the original Hellfire Club, pursuing power, control, and an unyielding grip over those outside of their circles. The idea that the Hellfire Club's influence could live on today, woven into the fabric of elite society, adds a new layer of mystery and fear to their story. It suggests that, despite centuries, the thirst for forbidden power and hidden knowledge still tempts those with the means to seek it. The question remains, is it just a legend, or is the Hellfire Club's shadow still stretching across modern history?
The Hellfire Club stands as a testament to the lore of mystery, power, and the forbidden. It's a story of hedonism turned dark, a journey from pleasure to something far more dangerous. So what do you think? Was the Hellfire Club merely a club, or did they unlock something darker?
Do you think secret societies like the Hellfire Club are still influencing the world today, hidden in plain sight?
What do you believe would drive someone like Benjamin Franklin to participate in such dark rituals?
If cursed objects like the whistling skull truly exist, do you think they carry the energy of their past? Or is it just the power of suggestion that makes people feel their haunting effects?
Do you think a place can remember dark events and hold on to that energy?
If you had the chance to join an elite group like the Hellfire Club with access to forbidden knowledge, but at a mysterious cost, would you take it?
And as always, stay curious and be mysterious. Bye.